Hello, how are you? Are you one of those people who, out of nowhere, suddenly craves pizza, burgers, bagged snacks, party snacks, fried foods, sweets, and that's what we call junk food? It's a term for these products that have a lot of calories and few nutrients, and many people end up getting a bit addicted to this flavor because of the crunchiness, the saltiness, the sweetness. They really stimulate the taste buds, and many people want to reduce their intake of these foods but don't know how. Today, I've put together 3 strategies for you that will help you reduce this intake because we know that occasionally it wouldn't be a problem, but there are many people who consume these foods regularly, and regular consumption can cause harm to your health, your weight, your metabolism, your blood sugar, your heart. So it's important to control it. Stick around until the end because you won't want to miss this. Before we start, I want to ask you if there's any of these junk foods that you regularly consume in your daily life, or not, if you've already managed to change this in your routine. I would love to see your comment. Remember to go ahead and like the video. That really helps me here on the channel, and to share it with someone you know who needs it, right? A lot of people need these tips and it would help them, so do your part too. When we think about this urge to eat, it's not always hunger. And this can be rooted in one of the 3 most important pillars we have when it comes to eating. One of them is the environment we live in. Another is related to biology, like glucose and dopamine, which I'll talk more about with you, and the other is related to our habits. So it's very important for us to understand that wanting to eat is not just about feeling hungry. Because if it were just about feeling hungry, it would be very easy for us to tell our brain, from now on, I'm only going to eat kale, boiled chicken, and potatoes, and never eat anything else again. We can't program ourselves like robots because we have all these emotional, environmental, and hormonal factors that are really at play. And sometimes, depending on the situation, we feel like eating something different. So it's important for us to have strategies to control these 3 pillars, which I mentioned are all interconnected, in order to succeed in reducing junk food consumption. For sure, when we think about strategy, the first is controlling the environment. This ends up being the most powerful of all, and I think it's actually the most underestimated, interestingly enough. Even though it has a huge impact, many people think it doesn't. So it's important for you to know this simple rule. If it's in your house, eventually it will be in your body. That's a phrase I love. If you buy something, you're giving yourself unconsciously permission to consume it at some point. Even if it's a moment when you're sad or happy and want to celebrate, or when you're tired. So if it's in your house, you've already given it permission to enter your body, your life, your routine. So ideally, you should try not to have these foods available in your environment so that you don't end up eating them in a moment of weakness. Some people say, no, it's fine, I'll buy this food, but I have discipline. I won't eat it. The thing is, our body is always trying to save energy, right? So it prefers you to make automatic, quick, effortless decisions, and there's a key point. The less effort it takes for us to do something, the more likely it is to happen. So if you walk into the kitchen and see something highly palatable, sweet, crunchy, salty, that triggers responses in your brain even before you consciously decide to eat it. So this can trigger dopamine activation due to the desire to eat, reward memory. In some moment you ate that and thought it was good, so you have that memory in your brain, and of course, an emotional association. So you don't necessarily have to be hungry to want to eat. The environment itself already triggers this behavioral cue. There's also a very interesting fact, which is the role of visual stimuli. Most of the sensory stimuli that influence our decisions come from vision. That's why the industry invests so much in packaging. Just by seeing the food, the brain already wants to prepare itself to consume it. This increases desire, impulsivity, and decreases rational control at that moment. Now think about it. If you don't see it, what the eyes don't see, the heart doesn't feel. So if it's not in your house, you don't see it. And over time, you might even forget that you had that craving to eat it. I say this because there are people who say, it's really hard to stop eating chocolate, I can't control myself. But that's because the chocolate is right there. Every time they open the pantry to eat, let's say, they want to make a little bowl of chia with yogurt and strawberries. You open it, there's the chocolate. Before you know it, your brain has already given in. So that's it. What the eyes don't see, the heart doesn't feel. Try to keep it out of sight so you don't leave it visible and end up suffering. If you have to keep it at home because, I don't know, other people want to eat it, store it in higher, closed cabinets so you don't see it all the time. Don't leave these trigger foods in plain sight. Don't leave open packages exposed. That's a really good tip. Once it's open, before you know it, you're already snacking. And avoid buying in large quantities because this matter of convenience can really shape our behavior. A lot of people want to rely on willpower, but we know it can be limited by tiredness, stress, lack of sleep, or a very hectic routine where you really don't have time sometimes to prepare a healthy meal. So you shouldn't depend solely on your willpower, nor should you blame yourself just because of it. By helping yourself today, you're building a foundation for better choices and greater control over your diet tomorrow. So ideally, you should basically make it easier to access what will do you good and restrict access to what will get in your way. If we could sum up this first strategy, that's basically it. The second strategy definitely has to do with smart substitution, because people are going to want to eat something that gives them pleasure, right? What often happens is that someone wants to stop eating junk food and thinks, I'm going to swap a hamburger from a fast food chain for ground beef with mashed potatoes and salad. That's not going to work. You want to eat a hamburger, so why not make a healthier version at home? That's a more interesting option. I want to eat pizza, so instead of that, I'll eat grilled chicken with salad and lentils. That's not what you want. It won't satisfy that craving. So ideally, you should learn how to make smart substitutions and keep these recipes readily available. That way, whenever you're in the mood for something like that, you'll have healthier alternatives that you can prepare in the right portions and quantities to satisfy your craving for fast food while avoiding unnecessary risks to your health or your weight loss journey. Remember that I have lots of recipes here on the channel. I've even made some playlists with ice cream recipes, pizza recipes, lots of things. There are so many recipes, both sweet and savory, for any time of the day. From low-calorie and low-carb to budget-friendly, quick, and easy meals, these options will really help streamline your meal planning. Take a look at the description below. I've put together these playlists to make it easy for you to find what you need. So there are plenty of options to help you avoid slipping up, so you don't have to order fast food or junk food, and you can make healthier choices. The third strategy that will really help you cut down on junk food is to avoid letting yourself get too hungry. What happens is that when we reach a state of very low blood sugar, extreme hunger, we get stressed, we get tired, we feel that urgent need to eat, the tendency to make something quick and extremely palatable is much higher. So if you can organize your meals to prevent these sudden drops in blood sugar, to avoid excessive hunger, that usually helps a lot to keep you from eating junk food. So staying satiated throughout the day doesn't mean eating all the time. It means making good food choices that keep your hunger in check so you don't feel like you need to snack right now. Now I'll grab these chips, now I'll grab this snack bar, now I'll grab these crackers, now I'll grab this candy. It's about being satiated and having the clarity to make good food choices. What will help keep you satiated is good protein, fiber, and healthy fats. These things really help you stay satiated, nourished, avoid glucose fluctuations, make better food choices, and steer clear of fast food this way. Another important point to remember, right, an extra tip, is to stay hydrated throughout the day, especially if you're someone who constantly wants to snack. You can try replacing this habit by drinking water throughout the day. Remember that the thirst center is very close to the hunger center, and sometimes that hunger you think you're feeling isn't actually hunger, it's thirst. In addition, we know that many of our body's metabolic reactions occur in an aqueous environment, so when we are well hydrated, it supports all these metabolic processes in our body. So another very important option can also be a swap, right? Replacing one habit with another. Of course, it's not going to replace eating some chips with just taking a sip of water. But if you can start to gradually change this, it can be a viable option. Also remember that it doesn't necessarily have to be water. It could be flavored water, a nice cold tea, something you actually enjoy drinking as well. All without sugar, of course, non-caloric. So tell me down below if you're going to put these strategies into practice and which food is the hardest for you to give up when it comes to junk food. Which one do you think will be easier for you to replace? I would love to see your comment. Remember to like the video, as that really helps me out, and share it with anyone who would enjoy it or who needs it. Let's work together to spread this chain of kindness. That's what I want with this channel. See you next time. Bye.